All right. Good. We're still afternoon, right? Good afternoon. Good evening. Bonjour tout le monde. Let me just before I start. I would like to just pass on my appreciation, the appreciation of the entire Canadian delegation to our Malaysian hosts, particularly Dr. Ibrahim, the Prime Minister, for an extraordinary group of meetings, extraordinary hospitality, which is going to continue for the next few hours this evening. You know, from our perspective, a highly productive few days at the ASEAN Summit here in Kuala Lumpur. I've been joined by a delegation, including our Minister of International Trade, and we have focused on building new partnerships and unlocking new economic opportunities that will benefit Canadian workers and their businesses. Nous sommes réunis ici à un moment à la fois crucial et rempli d'opportunités. Le monde est devenu plus dangereux et divisé. Le système de commerce mondial est en train de changer de manière fondamentale. L'évolution technologique et la transition énergétique s'accélèrent à un rythme sans précédent. L'ancien ordre mondial est revenu. Et même si le Canada a prospéré dans ce système, nous savons que la nostalgie n'est pas une stratégie. C'est pourquoi nous traçons une nouvelle voie à suivre pour notre pays. On November 4th, our government will table the first federal budget, our first federal budget. And that'll be our plan to protect our communities, our borders, our way of life. Our plan to build a stronger economy where everyone has a chance to get ahead. And our plan to empower Canadians with new opportunities, better careers, and a lower cost of living. Central to those missions is our intention to double our non-U.S. exports over the course of the next decade. That alone will generate $300 billion in more trade, new orders for Canadian resources, Canadian industries, and Canadian expertise. I chose my summit for my first visit as Prime Minister to Asia because the Canada-ASEAN relationship is full of potential. This is a region of nearly 700 million consumers with a market worth over $5 trillion. It's already Canada's second largest trading partner with over $260 billion in two-way merchandise trade alone. Yet, even at those levels, it still only represents about 10% of our exports. To build those exports, to double our non-U.S. exports, our government is working to strike a series of new trade deals, including here in the Indo-Pacific. In the past few months, we've signed new agreements with the United Arab Emirates in artificial intelligence, with the European Union in defense and broader trade, with Germany in critical minerals, with Mexico in agri-food. We signed a free trade deal with Ecuador that reduces or eliminates tariffs on the majority of Canadian exports. And last month, in Ottawa, we concluded a historic free trade agreement with Indonesia, Canada's first bilateral free trade agreement with an ASEAN nation. This week in Kuala Lumpur, we agreed to accelerate progress on a new Canada-ASEAN free trade agreement, targeting completion of that agreement next year. Yesterday, I met with the Prime Ministers of Laos and Vietnam, as well as the President of the Philippines, to move those talks forward. Now, that deal would add about $1.5 billion to our economy, giving Canadian workers and businesses greater access to this fast-growing market. In fact, probably, arguably, the fastest-growing market in the world. And would create jobs for Canadian workers in sectors ranging from critical minerals to clean tech, agri-food, aerospace, and advanced manufacturing, all while lowering prices for Canadian consumers on goods like electronics and clothing. In addition, President Marcos of the Philippines and I agreed yesterday to launch talks on a new free trade agreement between our two nations, again with the goal of concluding that agreement next year. This week, we also made significant progress on energy. Today, Canada and Malaysia signed a letter of intent to deepen investment in liquefied natural gas, and oil, nuclear power, and renewables. I met with the CEO and the senior management of Petronas, one of the world's largest energy companies and already a major investor in LNG in Canada, LNG Canada Phase 1, LNG facility in Kitimat, British Columbia. Now, phase 2 of this project will double production, making the project as a whole the second largest LNG facility in the world, creating tens of thousands of new high-paying Canadian careers. That project, phase 2, has been referred to our new major projects office because we want it built, and we want it built faster to the benefit of Canadians, including Indigenous partners in the project. Together with Petronas, we are exploring other new opportunities to expand our partnership and strengthen Canada's role as a reliable energy supplier. By the end of this decade, 2030, Canada can produce nearly 50 million tons of LNG each year, enough to supply Singapore, where I'm going tomorrow, 5 times over. We can double that production again by 2040. Nous collaborons également dans le domaine du captage du carbone et en mettant nos ressources au service de la transition de l'ANAS vers une économie plus résiliente et à faible émission, en plaçant l'innovation canadienne au service des infrastructures énergétiques de l'ANAS. Comme son nouveau réseau électrique, nous ouvrons la voie à des milliards de dollars de nouvelles possibilités pour les entreprises et les travailleurs canadiens. Et nous aidons aussi nos partenaires de l'ANAS à atteindre leurs objectifs en matière de connectivité. Canada's also unlocking new opportunities in technology. Canada's BlackBerry offers its cybersecurity center of excellence here in Malaysia. And we announced an investment to expand that center into an international hub for cyber intelligence and security innovation, something I discussed this afternoon with Prime Minister Ibrahim. Today, I visited CAE, with whom Malaysia Airlines has just signed a deal to purchase another Canadian-built flight simulator. And I met the CEO of AirAsia yesterday about a potentially large order for A220 planes designed and built in Quebec. These are the kinds of partnerships we will keep building because Canada has what the world wants: world-class talent with expertise in clean technology, artificial intelligence, life sciences, and quantum computing. We're the world's number one destination for master's degrees and doctorates. We have the most educated workforce in the world. We're an energy superpower with the 3rd largest reserves of oil and the 4th largest reserves of natural gas. We have an 85% clean grid, which we can readily